evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome you all to the Peak Elite's special get-together evening for the International Women's Day celebration, co-sponsored by our event partner, National Bank, Australian Bank, and NAP. I'm Hong Huang, co-founder and vice president of the Peak Elite. It's a beautiful surprise to me today to see so many turned out. That gives me the feeling what 250 people is like in the room. I've never seen this before. What's more surprisingly and more wonderful is that from where I'm standing, I can see a lot of gentlemen in the room, which didn't happen last year. And thank you so much for taking your effort. Can you please round of applause for them? And may I ask the ladies that who are sitting next to a gentleman, please make them feel welcome by shaking their hands. Give them a beautiful smile for me, please. Thank you. Let's plot on. International Women's Day is celebrated with huge settlements all over the world because the presence of a woman has such a strong impact in everyone's life. I think you all agree with me. I love this quote from a writer. It says, "A woman is the full circle. Within her is the power to create, nurture, and transform," by Diane Marichild. Indeed, woman power is incredible and womanhood is powerful. So tonight is the very night for the theme of the celebration of women, power of the woman, empowering women together, more powerful. So before I proceeding into a full list, it's a very packed list, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land and pay respect to their elder past and present and future. Now, please join me in welcoming President of the Peak Elite, Victoria Guan, to come up to the stage for a welcome speech.
That's great, a fantastic evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad to welcome everybody coming to this 2019 Pink Elite International Women's Day celebration. And then obviously my name is Victoria Guan. I'm the president of Pink Elite. So now it is my honor to acknowledge our VIP guests among of us being some government official, business leaders who have joined us this occasion. And then may I invite a guest to stand up when I mention your name, and then so people can see you. Obviously, Gail Guinness, our Mayor of Willoughby City Council. So Christine, our councillor from Willoughby City Council. Brendan Zhu is from Willoughby Council. I saw him. Yeah. Oh, you are there. Okay, thank you, Tom. And Helen Shang-ho, our former councillor of Member of Parliament. Thank you. So we have a couple of people probably coming late, and our special guest as well, Barbara Ward. Yin Liu, are you coming? I haven't seen you yet. She is the chair of Women and the Leadership Committee of China Chamber of Commerce in Australia. And then I have Patty Cao, is the honorable advisor of Australia-China Business Summit. Thank you. I have Darren Horton. Thank you. And the general manager, business and corporate sales and marketing, National Australia Bank. And I have Michael Calder. Are you here? No. Oh, thank you. Particularly thank you, the gentleman. Thank you very much. He is a regional customer executive, National Australia Bank. I have Lucinda is coming. Not yet. She is the division director from Macquarie Group. I have Lin Ye. Lin haven't. Yeah, thank you. It's the CEO of Hallmark Pharmaceutical Group. Thank you. And then I have Nancy Zhao, and then Wendy Ye from Retail Center Manager, Medibank. Thank you, girls. And I have Lisa Corner, from Manager Corporate Relation and the Program from Huawei Technologies. Thank you. Thank you, our VIP guest. Of course, I'd like to give a huge thanks to our corporate sponsor, National Australia Banks. So what they have created, and then what they're giving, of course, is more than money. It's an opportunity for everybody to share the power of women tonight. So I thank you very much for National Australia Bank give us this opportunity. So I also would like to thanks our diamond sponsors for this year, which is Hallmark Pharmaceutical. Thank you. This is second year they're becoming our diamond sponsor. And I have Everwell Medical Center from Chesud. Thank you very much for becoming our diamond sponsor. And then they have prepared a fantastic raffle gift and then lucky draw name card gift for all of us. So please make sure you go to buy the raffle and get your name card into the box. And then I also would like to thank you. Our one sponsor is Swan One Group. Thank you very much. So International Women's Day is an opportunity to celebrate contribution of women in the world right now. It's a great and important time in the history to do everything possible to help forge more gender-balanced world. So women have come a long way and they make a phenomenal achievements. So tonight we are so honored to have 4 actual ordinary high achiever to share their knowledge and the wisdom with us tonight. And then I would like to thank you for their sharing. Annette Pinder from National, is head of business market, ACT, New South Wales and Queensland, National Australia Bank. Thank you very much. I have Marina Hong, she is in the prepare room. She is Australian opera leading Soprano. I also have Margot Faraci, is customer executive National Bank. Is a National Bank partner. Customer executive national partner from National Australia Bank. I have a lady who are coming slightly late, Janelle. She coming from United Nations. She is the executive CEO. She just fly today and she. Oh, you're here already. Oh, you're running fast. Thank you very much for coming. I know you just off the flight. Thank you. So thank you all of you. As at Pink Elite, we believe the power is in the sharing. So for those who don't know who Pink Elite it is, is a non-profitable, non-political, and non-religion multicultural leadership group for business women. So our vision is to educate and support and motivate women to be inspired to achieving great goals, facing challenge with strength and wisdom, and making difference to the people around them. So if any of you who would like to involve, please come and introduce yourself. That particular sharing seminar is what we like to share the power with all of you. So we hope you will get a benefits out of tonight and enjoy the evening. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Victoria. That's a very nice summary of the evening. Moving on, one of my most favorite part of the Pink Elite event is having our opening speech, beautifully done by our Mayor Gail, that every single event of Pink Elite, she was here, so it becomes our signature of our PE. Let's put our hands together when we welcome Gail.
Thank you so much, Hong. What a pleasure it is to be here this evening. Can we give a big round of applause for Pink Elite? Please These ladies are just a powerhouse. It's quite extraordinary. Has it been 2 years now, Victoria, approximately? 1.5 years. Is that all? Like, in 1.5 years, they've achieved so much in bringing together so many different people, supporting great charity organisations. Hong was a star on Dancer of the North, the highest fundraiser. They're everywhere. So I'm really so very thrilled to be involved with Pink Elite and all that they do, and I thank you for the support you're giving to so many. I'm also pleased to be here today with two of the councillors from Willoughby City Council, of course, Councillor Christine Cheon. And I was sitting there, Christine, thinking, I think you're actually the only mother with school-aged children that's currently on council, which is quite a claim to fame. I held that title once, but my children are now older. And we've also got Councillor Brendan Zhu, who is also a great supporter. Welcome to you too, Brendan. Thank you for all the support you give to so many functions. We have the Honourable Dr. Helen Sham Ho. And of course, Honourable Dr. Helen Sham Ho is not only the first Chinese person elected to Parliament, State Parliament, but you must have been one of the very first women, quite a trailblazer. So can we give her a round of applause? One of our treasures that we have here. Now, you may see me standing here with this Merrill bling, thinking, God, what's she wearing? Whip it out every time. Looks good in a photo. But today especially, I wear this with pride. The reason being is that if you come up close, and please come up closer later on, you'll see that there are some names here with dates. And this relates back to 1865 when Willoughby City Council was first established. And I have the honour and privilege of being the 50th mayor. When I see the children, then they come and see, and they're all I go, can you guess how many women mayors there's been before? And they have all sorts of random numbers. Anyway, I can tell you out of the 50, I am the second only woman mayor of the city of Willoughby. Yeah. So hopefully it is the tide of change. But you'll be well aware that within government circles, particularly state and federal government, about the underrepresentation of women and the endeavours to try and change that. Well, local government, I'm sad to say, doesn't have a much better story in itself. So as a woman mayor, I represent only 25% of mayors across Australia, so we're quite a rare breed. And women councillors are roughly 30%. So women are very underrepresented. However, in the city of Willoughby, we've got a great story to tell. Not only do we have a woman mayor, we have a woman deputy mayor, we also have a woman general manager, and yes, half of our workforce, just over half of our workforce are women, and around half of our councillors are women. So we're very proud of that fact. And I think we're really punching above our weight. Now, it must be something in the water because, of course, we've got Gladys as our state member, we've got Felicity across the road, and, of course, Gladys being Premier. So we're really proud of the track record that we have here in the North Shore. And I'm delighted to be here today because, of course, we're going to hear from lots of exciting women and their own stories. But look to yourselves and reflect upon your own journeys as we hear from these women and try and identify with what you can take out. And if you've got daughters, sons or whoever, please make sure you speak to them about making sure that women have equal standing to men. I think it's really important. This morning I was just retelling my husband and I used to talk through what's your day got in store, and I said, International Women's Day is coming up, it's great. He goes, we should have Blokes Day. But I think until you get to a point where we don't need a International Women's Day because it is just taken for granted, that's what we should all be striving for. And that's only through education all round about gender diversity and gender acceptance. So enjoy this evening and thank you very much for having me here. Thank you.
Invite you to stay on the stage. Thank you so much for the sweet speech that you always make for a Pink Elite event. Like I said, that's my favorite part. Sisterhood is very strong, powerful. That since you've been with us from day one,
yes.
1.5 years we plot on with your support. So we're very privileged to having you as a family. We'd like to invite you as our Honourable Chairman as Pink Elite. So may I invite our President to come up to present a certificate of the appointment?
Yeah.
Thank you,
President. Thank you very much, Steph, and becoming our Honourable Chairman.
Thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for everything.
So today you're part of this?
This is lovely.
Thank you very much.
That's
have another round of applause for Gail to congratulate her to be one of the Pinker's families. Thank you. Right, moving on. Now I think it's time to invite our first speaker, Annette Pinder. Sorry, I've asked you before. So just very quickly, Annette is the head of business market ATC New South Wales and Queensland, National Australian Bank. More than 10 years experience in management and business development role in the insurance and banking industry. Talent for the building capability, aligning interest and achieving positive outcomes in complex operational environment. Natural abilities with influence, communication skills to extract rapport, trust and respect with people on all levels across professional, social, and cultural and age borders. Wow, keep going. An innovative and assertive leader with the ability to initiate changes and committed to high performance coaching and a passion for people and shifting mindsets into future direction of the banking industry. So let's put our hands together for Annette.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my leadership experience with you all on this very important day, International Women's Day. Today is a very important day for me, not only because I'm a female, but I'm also a mother to a wonderful daughter called Rose. I'm very proud of Rose, who is studying medical science and then is going on to studying medicine. And I'm hoping she's going to look after me in my old age, fingers crossed. Watching Rose realise her dreams and her ambitions has been the most rewarding part of my life so far. It has really inspired me. To think that some females in the world are unable to pursue their dreams saddens me deeply. There are approximately 1 million women in the world who don't get the opportunity to go to school simply because they are girls. Sometimes we take for granted the access that we have here in Australia to education and the equal opportunities that we get. However, we still have a long way to go. Women only account for 30% of board positions across Australia's top 100 listed companies. So I feel a sense of responsibility to make the path easier for my daughter, but also other women to navigate the world ahead. Before I go into my keys to success, I want to share with you my own personal story. I believe this really makes up my leadership journey through my own experiences. I discovered I was pregnant with my daughter Rose at the age of 18. I was just about to sit my first HSC exam. This was a surprise to me and also a big surprise to my parents. I was meant to complete my HSC and go straight into studying law. I was a prefect, I was a good student, and it was a big shock. I had to face the reality that I was going to raise my child on my own. I had to navigate how to be successful at this. A big task to be handed at 18, and very overwhelming. It became clear that I needed to start earning an income and to start working to support us both. So my uni dreams had to be put on hold. I started working full-time in 1999, and back then, workplace flexibility wasn't an option. The concept of being a young single mother wasn't really spoken about. This is where my leadership journey started. It was to be the best role model for my daughter and lead us to a happy life together. That was the ultimate goal. I needed to support her both financially, emotionally, as I was all that she had. I look back on our journey together, and it certainly had its ups and downs. However, we sure did have a lot of fun along the way. We still remain to be best friends today, and we like to say that we grew up together. Thank you. So, some keys to success and how I believe I was successful. So, connecting with people. Relationships are key. Really taking the time to get to know people and listen. Show an interest, be curious. Everyone has something to offer. Be open to new ideas and bring out the best in people, inspire them. One of my mottos is I like to leave every conversation with the other person feeling just a bit better about themselves. You need to be authentic. Oscar Wilde has one of my favourite quotes, and it's be yourself because everyone else is already taken. You are unique, and that is what is wonderful. Never try to be something that you're not. It's what brings different ideas, change and success to teams. It's also extremely exhausting if you're trying to be somebody that you're not. Who wants to do that? Resilience. Now, to me, this is the key. This is the most important part that has really helped me. I didn't just come into this world resilient. I had to build that over time. And probably the key to resilience is how quick you recover from setbacks. And for some strange reason, I seem to excel when someone tells me I could never do that. Well, I get a fire in my belly and I just go for it. Yes, I get upset. However, I pull myself back together, I work out an action plan, and this has truly been a winner for me. I want to prove people wrong. I want to show them that I can do it. I truly believe anything is possible. And I thank my father for this. He has always told me from a very young age, the world is my oyster and I can do anything if I put my mind to it. I'm very grateful to have a father that never made me feel any different because I was female, and I really never knew there was a difference in capability between men and women, and there isn't. So it really surprised me when I entered the corporate world and the whole female imbalance issue kept coming up. Like many females, I've been given bad advice, such as you should learn how to be more like a man. That's interesting. Don't quite know how to do that. And a more common one is, you can be too emotional. Gee, sorry for being human and being passionate about what I do. I also was told by a senior woman executive that she's been told in her career to be more statesman-like. What would the female version of that be? Don't know. So please continue to use your female qualities. That is what businesses need, and this is what brings diversity of thought. And as you become more resilient, you learn how to address these types of comments and not take them to heart. Some feedback is great, and other feedback you need to put to one side and move forward. Support networks. I like to call them my cheer squad. You need a team to cheer you on. I have my daughter, my partner, my family and friends. They tell me I can do things that other people say I can't. They give me the energy and support to move forward, and most importantly, they believe in me. Also, mentors. They help me to navigate my way through complex environments and being open and honest about their experience. I've had both male and female mentors, and I would like to share a story with you all about a conversation with a male mentor. I went into a coaching session with one of my mentors, and I started off with my story around raising Rose as a single mother and all the obstacles I faced. He then pulled me up and said, "No, you can't lead with this story." I said, "Why?" "Because some people won't care." And I was horrified. I felt the blood rush to my head, and I felt really angry. So I held my breath, got through the session, went home that night and ranted and raved to my partner, like, how could he say this to me? Can you believe he said this? It's so important to me. I slept on it, woke up in the morning, sat on the end of my bed and thought to myself, you know what? He does have a point. His point was, Annette, you're smart, talented, you're studying your MBA, you should lead with that now. And there's some situations where you need to use another story. And I think it's always good to get different perspectives on things. You should always learn to speak up. You need to let your boss know. You need to let even Hye know that you want a career. You want to grow and you want to make a difference. Otherwise, other people are doing it and you'll just be forgotten. Make sure you also speak up for what you think is right. Don't play the game. Otherwise, you are diminishing your confidence and not making things better. You're just accepting the status quo. Be brave, have tough conversations, and challenge things. What's the worst that could happen? Well, you could lose your job. However, do you really want to be viewed as someone that has no opinion? Grow and learn. Always grow and learn. Never assume you know everything. Firstly, it's irritating when you come across someone who thinks they know everything. We have all come across a know-it-all. Arrogance is not appealing. And secondly, we could never possibly know everything. It's impossible. Be kind to yourself and others. Show empathy. Stay away from politics and games. Just look after your health, your mind, and the people that really matter to you. Some of my leadership insights. And the first thing I want to say is it's all about people. If you don't like people and you're not passionate about people, you're probably in the wrong job. You need to be passionate about people. You need to bring out the best in them. You need to show them that you believe in them. When you believe in someone, anything is possible. Just remember when someone believed in you and how good that felt. Good leaders need to make people feel great and unlock their talents. My goal, as before, is to make every person that I have a conversation with feel better afterwards, feel better about themselves. It's not about you anymore. It's all about others and not being the superstar. Promote others and the team's success. You need to get used to not being acknowledged, and the team and the business is your success, not you. Be courageous. Stand up for your business and your people and call out the wrong behaviour. Try new things and learn. And make it okay not to be perfect. And don't punish people for their mistakes. Help them learn from them. Create a culture of innovation and new ideas. Don't play the games or be political. It's exhausting and it takes you away from the business and what matters, your people. I know this can be contradictory. However, I'm a true believer. Over time, people remember how you acted and the way you treated them. So be kind to one another and stay away from negative energy and gossip. Finally, it's an absolute privilege to be a leader, and I always remind myself of the impact I have on others and their lives, both positive and negative. I want to leave you with a light bulb moment I had 12 years ago. At the time, I was interviewing for a role, and a senior male executive was jointly interviewing me, and I happened to say, "I've been lucky in my career." He looked me in the eye after an hour and a half interview and said, "Annette, I wouldn't call what you have achieved luck. I would call it hard work. Well done." I realised then I was my own worst enemy and playing down my achievements. Yes, it is hard work, but it's also very rewarding when you are able to inspire others around you. Thank you.
That is indeed inspiring. Thank you, Annette, for your wonderful story sharing with us. And I'm sure each one of you is on the in the audience are getting your own messages of how leaderships and achieving is like for your own practice. So I get that. Can do, is that one of them? And show people what you can, achieving yourself. Thank you. Big round of applause for Annette again. So moving to the next one, I'm going to bring up our second speaker, a speaker that tonight going to be speaking her very own way. I'll invite her out in a minute. Before doing that, I'll start reading a bit of a bio of her. Her name is Mariana Hye Seoung Kwon. I hope I got his name right. Mariana is an Australian opera leading soprano. Sorry. Mariana is performing this year at Sydney Opera House 2 of her signature roles, Liu in Toronto and Cho Cho San in Madame Butterfly. Following her outstanding performance in London, Helsinki, Melbourne and Brisbane. Her regularly performs the lyrics soprano roles with Opera Australia, including Mimi, Michaela, Countess, Donna, Anna. All these famous roles if you are fans of the opera. Mariana has been a soloist with Verdi Symphony in Italy, Melbourne Symphony Orchestra, Cine Philharmonia, Opera in the Vineyard, stands up in addition to numerous concerts and recitals in Sydney, Brisbane, Canberra and Melbourne. Well, I'm feeling that I'm doing a music show if I'm getting all these words right. Mariana was the winner of the Australian Singing Competition's prestigious Opera Award and the MBS Young Performance Award in 2002. She was nominated for the Helpman, Mikkel and Green Room Awards in 2009 and 2008 and 2009. She also will appear in the Churchill Sun with State Opera South Australia later this year. So now you know why I'm saying that she's going to speak in a very special way. Let's put our hands together, warmly welcome Mariana Hong.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mariana Hong. Thank you. I'm a professional opera singer and I regularly perform opera at the Sydney Opera House. At the moment, I'm performing as Liu in Turandot and I will be performing the title role of Madame Butterfly. I started to learn piano when I was 5, and my teacher wanted me to be a pianist. But I loved singing more, so I joined the children's choir when I was 7. Actually, I was the only one accepted in the senior choir at age 7 because of my sister, and my voice was recognized as being different from others. When I was 8, I told my cousin I would be a prima donna. We both look at each other, what is a prima donna? Prima something? And then there are lots of question marks and eyes. He's very proud of me as well as my relatives. Obviously, I had no idea what I meant. I probably heard it from somewhere. A couple of years later, I went to Hanyang University in South Korea and then to Italy for further study. I enjoyed studying and loved living in Italy, even though there were language barrier and a different culture to adapt to. I loved Italian pizza and spaghetti, which I hardly ever had in Korea. Yeah. There, I started my career as a soloist. I loved it, but I couldn't stay in Italy due to my family matters. I almost gave up my professional career and came to Australia. In Australia, I had to start my career from the beginning because I had no experience and I had to face lots of obstacles such as language barrier, lack of experience in the opera field, and medical issues. As a migrant woman, I had to overcome those. I tried my best to achieve. I auditioned and was accepted by Opera Queensland, so I put all my energy into my new career to chase my passion and fulfill my dream. I then moved to Sydney for a bigger market, but I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer soon after. I needed time to be cured, and I was depressed, a little bit depressed, and then all my family and relatives were in Korea. I had challenges facing loneliness and medical issues. Medical treatment was successful and I recovered. Also, my son was born and I learned something from him. I told myself I had a dream to sing again. I need to do my best and try one more time. I have set a high goal and pushed myself hard to reach the top of my profession. I thought of myself as a newborn baby and tried step by step. I maximized my capabilities to achieve my goal. I also believe to be successful, it is 1% of talent and 99% of hard work. I continually pushed myself and I was not alone. My son always, and still to this day, he helps me and gives me strength. To be a female performer married to a very traditional Korean man wasn't easy. He wanted me to stay home and then look after baby and then cook for him. Yeah, you know that. Yeah. Many distractions from him also made it difficult to keep going. However, to sing out actually released my stress. If you want to try, just let me know. Yeah. I could breathe better when I rehearsed and I performed. I looked like a star on stage, but well, my life was hard. Now I'm a single mom without my own family around. Sometimes it is hard to juggle work and my son, but I have a strong belief that I can get through it, and I see a bright future for us. I also contributed to the community by sharing my talent with other people through singing in charity concerts and conducting choirs and singing in the church. I am one of the only few Australian female singers who actually sing the main roles on the main stage. I feel so lucky and blessed. To perform on stage, I need lots of courage and concentration because of my shyness, believe it or not. Yeah, my wish is that people can be touched by my singing and will be inspired. Women are stronger than we think. Mothers are even stronger. As women, we have to help us and support each other. That's the reason I am here. I wish to thank Pink Elite for giving me this opportunity to share my story. Hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
I was touched by the voice as well as the story. I hope you all share the joy of enjoying her powerful voice. That's spectacular. I actually attend one of her charity singing with 4 of other top Korean and Australian opera singers, soprano, tenor, in Chatswood last week. and with the conductors, with everybody on the stage, the full orchestras and choir groups and 5-6 top singers. They're all doing that for free in their own time, raising families for the daughters, helping countries in the war. So very touched indeed, and admiring their courage and contribution. So let's put our hands together for Mariana Hong again. Thank you. Before I move on to the next speaker, I would like to have a special presentation of another lady that is very, very touching my soul. Unfortunately, she's not here with us. She's in China. So I would like to firstly show a short movie of her on the screen. Liang Yi, this beautiful girl, she was diagnosed with that disease when she was very young, 21. She was here 2 weeks ago. Helen was there. So we were in Opera House watching her bring the whole team from China, Hunan TV television, to here to have a poem reading for the celebration of the Chinese New Year. So that was truly heart-touching section, that she was sitting on the wheelchairs with 5 other poet reading performers, and the whole audience was truly inspired by the story. Like what you have seen on the screen, that she overcome the difficulties that would probably any one of us that could not understand how strong that's required for a person to overcome. So in order to give back to this society, she has endorsed many social organizations and enterprises and become their public welfare ambassadors and cultural communication ambassadors, which has produced enormous social benefits. Her story has touched countless people and won many awards. She wrote, "I Want to Stand Up," that's the name of the book, and Sunshine Liang Yi, that's her name, which brings encouragement and hope to thousands of people in distress. She was recipient of the 9th Global Love Life Medal. In 2007, she served as the host of the first public welfare documentary in China, Moving Mountain. Also as the image of ambassador of China's Song Qinglin Foundation. She served as the torchbearer of the 2008 Paralympic Games in Beijing, presided over the large-scale themes performance of the Beijing 2008 Paralympic Games, participated in the Super Speaker program of the Anhui Satellite TV in March 2014, and was held as a superwoman in the industry. In February 2019, which is 2 weeks ago, during the Chinese New Year's celebration, she performed poem reading in Sydney Opera House and has successfully added value to promoting Hunan brand Go Global, building bridges of the culture between China and Australia. She was awarded the Chinese Classic Reading of the Inheritance and Communication Contribution Award by the University of Western Sydney. So when she was here, that I met her a few times, and I was inviting her. I was hoping that she can stay a bit longer to join us tonight to celebrate this International Chinese Women's International Women's Celebration, sharing her story with us by herself. But unfortunately, the workload has to require her to be back in the hometown. But to her very kind and generosity, that she has actually kindly accepted us inviting her to be our ambassador of Pinky Lead. So I would like to invite Mayor Gale to come up to the stage, and President Victoria to come to present our certificate of appointment to her. Being a friend, I'm privileged to accept this award on her behalf.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So Liang Yi is just back to China, so she couldn't be here today. And then so Hong is one of the friends, and then she will accept this ambassador on behalf of her. So, but it's good part of it. She sent a message to us, and then let we have a listen what she said.
亲爱的各位悉尼的朋友们，大家好，我是梁毅，来自湖南电视台的节目主持人，非常荣幸能够受邀出任澳大利亚 Pink Elite 女性精英会的形象大使的这个职位。非常遗憾，因为工作的原因呢，在2周前我刚刚在悉尼歌剧院举行完演出，刚刚赶回到中国，所以今天晚上不能够亲临现场来接受这份委任书，和朋友们一起来共度38国际妇女节。但是我想，无论我身在何处，女性励志向上的精神是共通的。我非常愿意为 Pink Elite 形象大使及女性精英形象做出努力和贡献。
It's a great honour to be invited to be the ambassador of Pink Elite Women's Elite Association of Australia. I regretted not being able to attend the appointment in person and celebrate International Women's Day with my friends in Sydney. But no matter where I am, the spirit of women's motivation is universal. I'm willing to contribute all my best effort and input to be the best image of the Pink Elite and image of the Lady Elite, Women's Elite. Thank you. So thank you, Ellie. I'm sure this moment of the event's going to be translated and then passed on to her in China. And I'll thank everyone in the audience for support. Margot is a customer executive and NAP partner. Her diverse professional background and uncompromised standards have combined to make her an innovative, commercial and ethical leader throughout her career. Her role in NAP Bank leads a dedicated team of business and private bankers across metropolitan New South Wales and Queensland. She has 20 years of experience in the corporate sphere as a lawyer at the start and transitioning to business banking about 15 years ago. She's passionate about supporting small business owners and their ability to drive local prosperities and opportunities for the whole community. She involves in the broad ranging of communities. She is the founder of the New South Wales Government's Lucy Mentoring Program. It has been adopted statewide and continued for 7 years. Well done. She's also a regular writer and speaker on leadership, which she will do tonight, focused on creating great leaderships in herself and those around her. Let's welcome Margot.
Thank you very much. When we were coming in tonight, Stu, our local leader here, did say to me, my God, I hope you don't have to go after the opera singer because that's a hard act to follow. So, here we are. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land upon which we're meeting tonight. I'd like to pay my respects to the elders, past, present and future, especially the women. And I'm delighted, thrilled, excited to be with you tonight on International Women's Day, the day on which internationally the theme is balance for better. A male colleague called me a few weeks ago and he said, what am I going to do? I've been asked to make a speech on International Women's Day, but Margot, why is that still relevant? Why is International Women's Day still necessary? And what is this theme about balance? Quite brave, I thought, asking me that. So I answered the call. And I understood it. He has a couple of young adult daughters, and he might even be in your electorate, actually. He has a couple of young adult daughters, and they're telling him that today isn't necessary. And he's got a range of female peers, like myself, who hold their own. So he's curious. He's not judgmental. He's curious. And he's also on the hook to make a speech. So he's trying to understand. So, of course, I sent him a whole range of things every single day until he rang me and told me that he understood the first thing I did was send him a quote that I've read on the topic from a feminist, and it really gave him the baseline from which to start. And the quote is, "It means, being a girl in this world means that you know that every gift you have, every bit of creativity you have, every opinion you have to offer will all be null and void unless you offer it in a way that maintains the status quo." And I told him that I often have felt like that. I asked him to look in his own team, start at home, and asked how he was going with gender balance in his own direct reports. 1 woman, 6 men. Bit of work to do there. I asked him to look at the gender pay gap, all the evidence that we have in the corporate sphere about the gender pay gap, and I asked him to consider that. And then I just started sending him one horrific statistic a day. Really bad stuff, like the 1.2 million Australian women who say that they've experienced an incident of sexual violence since the age of 15. Or, you know, the 2 Australian women every week who are killed by a current or former partner. And then finally I sent him the best thing I've read on the topic for quite some time, and that's a piece by David Lesser, who was in the Good Weekend in about February last year. It was called Women, Men and the Whole Damn Thing. And it was the author's shock and horror at the tidal wave of revelations from the Me Too movement, asking himself, what have we done to women? And what is my part in this as a man? Now, I was really grateful that my colleague asked me that, because it gave me pause to consider, well, what is the gift of today, and what is the role of women in society today, and what is it that I have to offer? A little while ago, my son, who's 12, came home and said to me, "Sometimes it's really hard being a boy, because you have to pretend you don't have feelings. You have to pretend that you're not sad and that you're not hurt." Women may have been subjugated. We may have been rendered powerless over history, and we may have been unsafe, we may still be unsafe. But at least we kept our hearts. And what that has meant is that while it's acceptable and expected even that we will be loving, open and vulnerable, it's not accepted that men will be those things. Now, of course, I am generalising. Of course, there are men who have kept their hearts and there are some women who haven't. But what I'm saying is there is no societal norm that asks me to pretend that I don't have feelings. We support women to be heartfelt, but on the other hand, boys don't cry and men have to be tough. So it's equally restrictive for both sides. And when I considered that, I wondered, how are we going with that as a society? How are we going with teaching our boys that they have to pretend they don't have feelings, who then become men who pretend they don't have feelings? There's a time for hustle and there's a time for heart. And balance is achieved when those two are working together, but there's been too much hustle lately. Some hustle is really good. I love hustle, and I reckon the ladies from Pink Elite have a fair bit of hustle about them. I reckon they get it done. And I love hustle. But when you have too much, you have dominance and aggression and tyranny, you have deceit, you have silencing of dissent. Too much hustle leads to a lot of damage, and we're seeing that all over the world. The antidote to too much hustle is heart. If you've ever seen a parent protecting their child, that's heart. Heart is strength, courage, and purpose. Heart is seeking to understand yourself and your motives, and Annette talked about that before. And heart, importantly, brings an alignment between truth and responsibility. And truth and responsibility are the things that create trust. And trust is what we need now. There's been a complete erosion of trust in lots of institutions over recent years. And we know that we in the banking sector have a big job to do in rebuilding trust. Now, many of us here are business people. I grew up in a business, family business. I was a lawyer, as you said, for 5 years, and I've been a business and private banker for 15 years. I know literally thousands of business people, and I've led thousands of business people. And at first, there's not much talk about heart in business. There's a lot of talk about growth and forecasts and numbers. But when I dig into it and ask, really ask, it's always about heart. Heart is purpose. Heart is providing for your family. Heart is following a dream. Heart is having a vision, seeing it through. It's leaving a legacy for future generations. Heart is the difference we have to make in the world that is exclusively ours. And that's what being a business is about. So it may be that this connection that we have as women to our hearts, to ourselves and each other, builds a better society. It may be that that's the gift of today. It's pretty much accepted now that women can have hustle and heart, but what if we could make it okay for men to have both as well? Might that be the answer to lifting society and bringing back trust? So back to my colleague in the phone call. After reflection, I was really glad that he challenged the validity of today. He did me a great service. He forced me to think about what's important for me today. Now, I've been a woman in a very male-dominated world for 20 years, and it's been incredibly isolating. There's been plenty of hustle, and I love it. And I've fought really hard to hold on to my heart as well. And I really believe that right now that is my greatest source of power. So that's the gift for me as I consider today. Now, at NAB, we are about balance. We care about having a workforce that reflects the community that we operate in. So we've got a whole range of measures in place that make sure we're doing that. We really encourage people to work flexibly. 86% of our people work flexibly. I'm one of them. And really that 86% is men and women in equal measures. We also really encourage people to take their full paid parental leave because we know that when we get alignment between work and home, everything works out. We're building our employee resource groups, which are aimed at making sure that everyone feels heard and included, focus specifically these ones on LGBTI+ inclusion. And that's all about balance. We recognise that the society that we serve can only be served if we're in balance as well. And when I think about that and I think about the difference I can make, I think, well, you know, maybe we're just a bunch of people talking. What difference does that make? We're all here tonight. God knows I've been talking. I love International Women's Day. I just talk all week. Been talking a lot. And I do sometimes think, what is the difference that I can make? What is the difference that we can all make in bringing into balance our heart and hustle? Well, when I question that, I remind myself of one of my favourite quotes ever. It's by Margaret Mead, that great social commentator from the 1960s. Do you know her? She said, "Never doubt that a small group of committed, thoughtful citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." Thank you.
Thank you, Margot, for your wonderful speech. Indeed, you're very good at public speaking and talking inspiring sentences I learned today, turning the difficulties and hustles into opportunities and make a difference. That's very powerful. Thank you. Hope we'll get some benefit out of it. So moving on to our last speaker, and Janelle Weissman. I'll get your name right. You just flew in from Canberra. Thank you indeed very much for the effort. Janelle is an Executive Director from UN Women Australia. For the past 20 years, she has worked to strengthen the social justice to organisations tackling issues from women's empowerment through to supporting people with HIV and AIDS. She has developed, managed, and evaluated programs to secure equal opportunities for women and girls through leaderships and life skills development in diverse settings. Since joining UN Women National Committee Australia in 2014, funds raised to support UN Women programs to empower and protect women has nearly doubled. Wonderful. With a record of 800,000 contributed to UN Women in 2017. Congratulations. Great job. Janelle was a member of the inaugural Right for Rights 2016 team, cycling alongside 25 champions from UN Women who together raised more than 129,000 for UN Women program that they visit along the 325 kilometers journey in Vietnam and Cambodia. That's amazing. Janelle has served on numerous boards and committees to expand access to health service and to advance equity. She currently serves on the Council of Sexual Health and Family Planning Act. Prior to her move out to Australia, she served as the executive director of two organisations, Social Venture Partners Borders Country and the Rita and Harold Division Foundation. Let's welcome Janelle Weissman. Come to the stage.
Thanks so much. Thank you for inviting me to be here this morning. Indeed, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. And I stand here on the eve of International Women's Day, and I too have been doing a fair bit of speaking. We've been in Brisbane and Melbourne, Canberra today, and we have a sold-out breakfast tomorrow, actually at the International Convention Centre, with 1,800 people coming along to hear about UN Women's work. So I wanted to share a little bit about how I got to where I am and the theme and leadership, but also share some of the stories of hope and inspiration that I've had a chance to get exposed to through my work at UN Women National Committee Australia. I stand on the shoulders of giants. I grew up with activist parents. I was then, as a child, I thought of it as being dragged to protests and rallies to stand up for women's rights, for children's rights, the rights of people in other parts of the world that seemed as a child so far and inconceivable away from my world where I grew up. And I grew up in Boulder, Colorado, in the USA. But it's very much that upbringing where around the dinner table we talked about injustice, where my granny was arrested for protesting the manufacture of plutonium triggers in our backyard because she believed that we shouldn't have nuclear weapons in the 80s. I come from a family that is deeply committed to issues of equality and justice for everybody. Now, it doesn't matter if you've come from there, because what I hope to share today is a window into why this work is so important, and no matter what you do, we all have the power to make a difference. So UN Women National Committee Australia's International Women's Day theme this year is More Powerful Together. And More Powerful Together for us is a clarion call for all of us to bridge divides. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter your gender. It doesn't matter your race, your ethnicity, your faith, your political affiliation. What we know across the world at UN Women is gender equality benefits absolutely everybody. It's not just about benefiting women and girls. That is important. But it's about benefiting everybody on the planet. When we have women around peacemaking tables, we build a more durable peace. When we have women represented equally in ASX 100 companies, which they are not currently, as we know well, we know that we make better decisions and we contribute to more prosperous economies. And we also know that when there is shared care, there's equality on the home front, that we have healthier, happier families, more resilient families, and stronger relationships. So the benefits of gender equality are numerous. It's not just about women and girls. And truly, my vision is to create a world where every girl and every boy on the planet has the same opportunity to be a leader, to get access to an education, to earn a decent living, and to live a life free from violence and discrimination. And that really sums up the pillars of what UN Women is all about, and I'll talk a little bit about that. So UN Women is actually the youngest entity at the United Nations, established in 2010, not yet 10 years old. And it was established because there was a recognition that there actually wasn't a dedicated entity at the United Nations that was concerned about 50% of the world's population, which you would think is pretty important for the UN to consider. And UN Women, the way it works, it delivers programs very much in partnership. And I'll share a few of those shortly. It works from the grassroots through to what I call the grass tops. So that's the highest levels of government, because UN Women works across UN agencies to ensure that the needs and the wisdom and the talents of women are considered at every level of programming and policy. It also works with governments to inform legislation, because we know that legislation can change the landscape for women. I was at a luncheon, our luncheon today, where we had on our panel the Secretary of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Frances Adamson, speaking. And one of the things that she said is that she was early on in the public service. She joined in 1985, and it was right after the Sex Discrimination Act had passed here in Australia. And she thought, oh, this is great, we've got this sorted, right? We've got this legislation, everything's gonna be good from now on. We'll have equal pay, we'll have equal representation as leaders. All it takes is a good law. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm speaking to a very informed audience that understands law reform is absolutely a really important part of the equation, but equally we have to have boots on the ground. We need to have people who patrol and hold our governments and our institutions accountable to ensure that any legislation, any policy reform is actually implemented with heart, with soul, with accountability. And I'd like to share a story about that. So I had a chance to meet an amazing woman, the head of UN Women in Malawi. Now, Malawi is one of the countries in the world with the highest rate of child marriage. And Clara was instrumental over the course of several years in back-channel diplomacy, talking to parliamentarians, day in, day out, saying that this is a practice that we don't believe in as a culture. We believe that every girl should have access to an education, and we know that child marriage disrupts the opportunity to do that. We know that child marriage leads to girls having children before their bodies are ready. We know that frequently when child brides are married, that there oftentimes is domestic violence in that household, and this is not the future that we want for our girls in our society. And a law was passed in 2017 to end child marriage. But that's not where UN Women's work stopped. Groups of women who call themselves secret mothers are patrolling throughout the country. They're looking out for people who are talking about, considering, discussing child brides. And they're literally holding their fellow community members accountable. And that's really where the rubber meets the road at UN Women. It's about ensuring that laws work for women, but it's also about ensuring that there are mechanisms in place to hold people accountable. Now, we in Australia know that we don't yet have parity in government. When we look at Parliament, we don't necessarily see ourselves well represented in the halls of Parliament. But equally, in this region, in the Pacific, when you extract Australia and New Zealand, and we haven't worked it all out here, we actually have the lowest level of women represented in parliaments anywhere in the world, in the Pacific, at 8%. And there are 2 countries in the world with no women having ever been elected to parliament in this region, Vanuatu and Micronesia. Now, I was invited to go to Solomon Islands a few years back, and as part of my upbringing, one of the things I was pretty involved in the US in particular was politics. Raising money, door knocking, volunteering on campaigns, because I do believe that government politics plays a really important role in what can happen around the world. And so I was invited to document a leadership training for a group of 26 people in Solomon Islands. It was 21 women and 5 men. And why were the men in this women's leadership training? It wasn't just about women, but a training that was about trying to advance more voices for women in parliaments in Solomon Islands. Where to date, there'd only been a couple of women who'd ever been elected, one of whom was elected because her husband ended up in prison, and so they said, you're in prison, so we'll have the spouse come in and serve in parliament in his stead. So not a fantastic track record. The men were there because at UN Women, we recognize that we have to bring men on this journey. And some of these men were interested in being campaign managers, supporters, volunteers. Others were interested in supporting once women were elected in parliament. And over the course of these 5 days, it was an incredible, incredible journey where I heard stories of people never considering themselves as having the capability to be a leader. And one of the very first activities that we did in this training was we had everybody get out a piece of blank paper. Got all directions, got out our piece of paper. Okay, get out your pen, got out our pen. Draw a farmer. So we draw a farmer. What gender do you think that farmer was? Yeah. How many of the women in that training were farmers themselves? And yet, the construct and the concept of being asked to draw a leader, a man, a firefighter, a nurse, a teacher, a social worker, we frequently get stuck in the construct of what are gendered norms. They're stereotypes that we take in every day through media, through everyday conversations, through our workplace. And over the course of those 5 days, there were a lot of illuminating conversations around that first day where a lot of women, even though they'd been farmers, had drawn men as farmers. And I have to say, it's so important to look at the best way to activate change. So bringing women together was about training on the one hand, but it was also about unleashing potential and creating a safe space to talk about what we want leaders to look like. And I'm not talking about the color of the hair or the shoes that they wear, obviously. I'm talking about what do we want and expect from our leaders. We expect them to be bold, to listen to the issues of the community and be responsive to those, which can translate equally to business, right? We need to listen to our customers, we need to listen to our clients, we need to listen to our workforce if we actually want to be agile and competitive in the marketplace. We also need to hone our communication skills. And one of the things that I had the joy of doing as part of the documenting of this training was to film women in a mock media interview. And we decided as a group, we let the group decide, that they wanted to play that back in a group setting because they really wanted to see, okay, let's tear each other apart. This is a safe space. We need to learn. We need to develop ourselves. And it was an incredibly powerful experience to see yourself on the screen and say, I can't believe I said, I don't believe that. I need to think about it this way. But these are the things, providing that training and that experience and that safe community to learn better ways to respond in a really high pressure situation when a journalist is asking you really hard questions about your campaign platform or how you're going to fundraise or are you going to engage in fraudulent activity, because we knew in Solomon Islands in the previous election that there had been quite a lot of, I'll call it horse trading, but buying votes. And so to go through that process, creating a safe space, providing a chance for women really to practice and hone their skills, was incredibly transformative. And this training was coupled by training with members of the media. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The media weren't too prepared to cover women who were running for parliament, because they hadn't done a lot of that before. And so talking to members of the media, thinking about how people are going to consume messages and preparing them to engage in interviews with a whole range of candidates. But equally, thinking about how the general population is going to consume information. So going back to the farmer story, UN Women prepared radio dramas. And there are 2 radio dramas. One that followed a woman who was voting for the first time, and another series that followed a woman who was running for election for the first time. They're in local language, and they're about meeting people where they are and really trying to transform social norms and change people's understanding of what leadership looks like, and harnessing the power and potential to engage in civic life. It's incredibly important and incredibly powerful. Now, I'm really pleased to say, as a result of that election, which was back in 2014, there was a woman who was not only elected, but she also was engaged in cabinet, Frida Sorakumwa, which was extraordinary, and she talks about her experience in the UN Women training as being incredibly formative. But more to the point, that's a piece of change. We have to celebrate the little wins because we don't always have the big ones. But it's about changing people's thinking around what leadership looks like. And for me, More Powerful Together speaks to a whole of planet agenda that I want to speak about just for a minute. So a lot of the people, probably most of you in this room, have heard of the Sustainable Development Goals. The Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs, are 17 goals that are mapping out a more prosperous, peaceful, healthier planet for everybody. And what's different about the SDGs to the Millennium Development Goals that preceded them is that they literally are for every person on the planet. It's not focusing on any part of the world based on GDP. It's actually saying, you know what? We haven't worked this out. And one really exciting thing for UN Women is that UN Women negotiated hard in 2015 and then the lead up to ensure that gender was central to the Sustainable Development Goals. Because we know that when you activate women as leaders, that they're looking after the needs of whole communities, families, whole nations, and that when you invest in women, that you invest in whole families, whole communities, whole nations. And this promise of the SDGs requires all of our participation. More Powerful Together ultimately is about ensuring that we can shed our differences and we can also harness the power of our differences to come to a common path, to say, we believe that every girl and every boy, everywhere, should have access to be a leader, should have access to a decent education, should have access to decent work, and to live a life free of violence and discrimination. But there's no way that after centuries of women's movements doing this work, that we're going to achieve that gender equality agenda alone. It takes all of us, and I pay tribute to all of the men who are in the audience today to celebrate International Women's Day, because there is no question that it's going to take all of our participation in order to get to that destination of 50-50 by 2030, which is UN Women's Clarion Call. We've set a deadline for gender equality. So join us Learn more about us at unwomen.org.au. And thank you for being advocates, for being outspoken, and really considering how you might be able to think a little bit differently about what a farmer or a leader looks like. Thank you.
Such a powerful word, together more powerful. I'm sure that we all learn that. I myself don't know too much what UN Women does now today. I've learned a lot. All we learned is last year, I think we all did the UN Women Orange Day, Orange the Word.
Yes,
We Pink Elite did a Orange the Word together with half of the audience participated, raised funds for Mary's House, with a local women's shelter for anti-woman violence.
Yes.
So thank you so much. We've learned more and continue learning more about UN Women, and hopefully we can be more powerful, changing mind and changing thinking. So let's perhaps, for a token of thank you for being here and sharing all that powerful words with us, the mindset with us, we'd like to give a little token of the donation. Can I invite Annette to Honourable Chairman?
Yeah, that's right. So tonight, where you be here, and the rifle you're going to have, and we dedicate to donate to United Nations Women.
Yep.
So please do put your hands together, and thank you everybody here. Can I have the flower?
Thank you very much. It's beautiful.
Can we have a photo? Thank you. Thank you all of our speakers. Thank you very much.
Scott, can you please stay
yeah.
Can we invite Scott that organize this function from Nat, Scott?
Yeah, student, you want to come over? Thank you. Student is our man. And June, where's the June? June is our lady. Come on. Where those people made things happen. We thank you very much for giving us the opportunity.
Let's welcome the man. That all tonight is all started from about a few weeks ago in his office. A meeting between June, Scott and us. We talk about this, and here we are. We've done this. I hope that you enjoyed it.
Thank you. I think that they really created this as a powerhouse today. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody here.
We are very privileged and honoured to have a lot of friends and sisterhood supports right from day one, just like what Margot has done us. We have our friends that's been turned up in every single event we have with Pink Elite. Like Barbara, the president of the Indian community. We'd like to invite you as our honourable advisor. Thank you for accepting that as part of our Pink Elite family. We'd like to present that.
Thank you.
We can come up together. Helen is the only woman MP on the panel. And Patty.
No, you. Helen first.
Yeah, that's the photo.
Oh, thank you, Helen. Be part of us. Finally.
Thank you.
She is the lady contribute to community a lot. We've been very glad having Helen be part of us. Thank you. And our Patty.
And Patty Cow, Honourable Advisor of Australian-China Business Summit.
Thank you. So we've been really honored having them on board because they are active in the community. They contribute the time and contribute their power to share your power with us. Thank you.
and continue. We'll also be very proud of having our very close friend Lynn being our honourable member. Yes, the CEO of Hallmark Pharmaceutical. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. Finally, you all be part of us. How happy we are. Thank you. Thanks. Please stay here, and then we have our own photo together.
And the next one, we're very proudly having Mei Li. Li Mei, where are you? Li Mei is a very achieving lady in the legal in Chinese community, being the not many women barrister. So we welcome her to be in our team. She's very supportive for all the events that we've got.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a big fan there in the audience, and I haven't acknowledged Elizabeth, because she has kindly recommended our singer, keynote speaker, the opera singer. Thank you so much. That adds a lot of value to the evening. Thank you. We do have another honourable member. She's not here with us, but she's the owner of the Wormit Art Centre, Art Gallery. Will, on behalf of her, take the certificate of appointment for her. So that makes our fresh new Pinky Elite team with all these powerful women. Well, we're very privileged to have.
Can we take a photo? And then we invite our team to come on in a minute. Thank you. So where's our Pink Elite teams? Come over for a photo. Thank you your time. And don't go, because there will be surprise, we're coming. So don't go. There is a, come on, our team. Our Pink Elite team coming for a photo. So we're going to have a business card lucky draw. Okay, we have a big prize today. So please run about with the business card. You haven't dropped your card. So our lowest lucky draw today is 300 above. Okay, so please put your business card in, and we also have a raffle ticket. So top raffle ticket worth 2,400. So please do buy your raffle and put your cards. Please, our team, come on. Come on to the stage. Quickly have a photo. Be quick, please. So the ball around. So please do drop your card in. So they will lots gift donated by our sponsors. So if you haven't got your business card, please put in. Also, for those people who, if you're interested, there is an upcoming workshop. There is an upcoming workshop to provided by our partners. They have some wealthy workshop provided by National Bank. So if everybody have this piece of paper, our team, come on, everybody have this paper, and if you're interested in any workshop, you can join our member and enjoy the seminar for free. So National Bank will provide all of the service for us. It's the first workshop will be coming with the social media insights and the economy and the FX market update. Is 19th of March. So there is lots of knowledge to sharing. We also have a well-being workshop coming soon. So if you're interested in all those workshops, please fill up your form and then drop to, when you go and drop to us. And after lucky draw, we do have a drink time, networking time, plenty drink and plenty food for you to networking. Victoria, come here. Okay, I'll just stay here, that's fine. Can we have a quick photo? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.